Hey you. Welcome back to Amusement ASMR. Or, if this is your first time here, then welcome. At Amusement ASMR, we explore the intersection of thrill and chill. So today, I want to go back and visit the happiest, tingliest place on earth, Disneyland, which is one of my local parks, which I visited this past spring 2024. So before me I have the Disneyland park map and the Disney California Adventure park map and the California Adventure Food and Wine Festival booklet. Because this was going on March and April of 2024 during this visit. So this will be fun to look through as well. We're going to get started with Disneyland Park because that's where I started my day. Let's open up this baby. Check it out. You like my decor? Fun themed stuff that I keep on my desk here. I love this stuff. It brings me joy all throughout the day. So here's the Disneyland Park map. As you can see, it's really easy to follow. This half of the map is, well, the actual map, and it's color coordinated with this half of the map. So you can see each land has its own color that corresponds over here. It makes it easy to tell where you are at any given moment. So we're going to follow my day, this magical, happiest, tingliest day in Disneyland in spring 2024. So I arrived at the Toy Story parking lot, which is over this direction. You can see how it says shuttle buses to Toy Story parking area. I parked in this parking garage at 8 a.m. in the morning, and I park in that garage because that's the only one that Magic Key holders get a discount at parking for, so that's why I parked there. But I have many times before parked at the Mickey and Friends and Pixar Pals parking structures, which are over this way. Either way, you then take their transit from Mickey and Friends and Pixar Pals. It's a really lovely tram, and from the Toy Story parking lot, it's a bus that's about a 9-10 minute long bus ride. Drops you off at the Esplanade here, which is the path between the two parks. And then I entered right here in the main entrance of Disneyland at 8:24 a.m. Walked right through those archways into Main Street that says you're leaving behind today and entering the world of yesterday, tomorrow, and fantasy. So then, of course, you enter onto Main Street USA, which is this red area, but I didn't stop there because I was rope dropping one of my favorite rides in the entire park, possibly even my favorite ride. There are a few that are up for that title, but this is my most favorite nostalgic ride, and it's one I love to rope drop and hit first thing in the morning. So I booked it all the way down Main Street, past Central Plaza, and through the castle to number 30, which is Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. If you hadn't guessed, that's my favorite ride, and it's extremely nostalgic ride. I have a lot of memories of riding that ride when I was little on this crazy manic drive to nowhere in particular, where you go to a bar and presumably get drunk so that you drunk drive into a bunch of explosives, and then you go to the court and they sentence you guilty. That is all. And then you get hit by a train and die and go to hell. And the hell room is particularly nostalgic for me. I have strong memories as a child of being terrified in that very hot room. But, as an adult now, I find it so magical and diverting and random and hilarious and so fun. So I hope they never take this ride away from Disneyland, because you may be aware that they used to have it in Walt Disney World too, but they took it away. So So criminal. I can't believe they replaced it with the Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, which we also have in Disneyland over here in Critter Country. But they found a different spot. They didn't have to take over Mr. Toad's lovely home in order to bring Winnie. So I'm very glad that they did not take it away at Disneyland. So I have a lot of fun riding that ride. I got to ride in the Cyril car this time. It's always fun to see which car I'm going to get. This one is named after the horse, Cyril Proudbottom, who is J. Thaddeus Toad's good friend in the short Wind in the Willows and the movie The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad. If you've ever seen those movies, they are really lovely. If you haven't, I highly recommend you go watch them because they're excellent fun. And then you'll learn who J. Thaddeus Toad is, who the ride is named after, and all of his friends who are also named different cars in the ride. So lots and lots of fun. Okay, so after I rode Mr. Toad's, I then suddenly had a need to pee, and I wanted to hit one of my other favorite rides, which is one of my favorite rides to do about an hour after park opens, because the park opened at 8 a.m. So I rope dropped again Mr. Toad's, and I got off that ride about 8:30, and that is prime time. Between 8:30 and 9 a.m. is the prime time to hit the most popular ride in the entire park, and that is, you guessed it, Rise of the Resistance in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, which is right over here, number 18 in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. And this is also in the running for my favorite ride in the park, and for good reason. It is an incredible ride, best ride technology, brand new trackless ride technology, incredible technological feat, incredible storytelling, amazing animatronics, and just really immersive ride that is exciting and nostalgic and inspiring and moving all at the same time. It's a really incredible ride. So because of that, it is the most popular ride in the park for very good reason. So a lot of people will rope drop that ride first. At 8 a.m. they will book it, beeline straight over there. And so that line can skyrocket in the first couple minutes the park is open. If you're not at the front of the pack of that crowd, all making a run or speed walk, because you're not allowed to run in Disneyland, making a speed walk for that ride first thing in the morning, then you're going to be stuck in a 75-minute plus long wait time. And then it will be that long for the entire day. I rarely see it drop below 75 minutes. And it's usually more like 90. But with one exception. At around 8:39 a.m., there's a bit of a lull in the wait times because that first rope drop crowd has already gotten in line, mostly gone through the ride. But there hasn't been a second wave of people yet, because the second wave of crowd that hits the park usually happens 2 hours after the park opens. So at about 9 a.m. or so, the wait times can drop significantly. So I love hitting the ride at that time. So that is what I did. I went over and peed right here at the Pinocchio bathrooms on my way to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, worked my way all the way around, and I got in line at 8:55 a.m., which is the perfect timing, and the wait time had just dropped to 65 minutes, so it was good timing. And about 5-10 minutes after I got in line, the wait time dropped even further to 55 minutes. And it wasn't even that. In reality, I reached the pre-show at 9:34 a.m. So it was more like a 40-minute wait, because they calculate the wait time up until the pre-show. And for this ride especially, the pre-show is amazing and definitely part of the immersion of the ride. So you're basically on the ride when you start the pre-show. It's incredible. And then I was off the ride at 9:51 a.m. So I like to be really precise with my times when I'm at theme parks, especially Disneyland, because it's good to be really optimized with your day. There's so much to do, as you can see on this map. There's just an epic amount of things to do, so. And one can never do it all or see it all in one day. So it's good to be as efficient as possible. At least, in my opinion. Everybody has their own strategy, and no two strategies are alike, and no one strategy is better than another. So you do you, but this is the way I like to do theme parks, especially Disneyland. So after Rise of the Resistance, then I decided to just hang out Galaxy's Edge for a minute, because it is nice to see if any characters are going to walk by. And the morning time is often a time that you will see some of those characters walking around. But after a quick glance, I didn't see any, very sadly. Other days I have had wonderful luck with many different characters, especially Rey and Chewie. I see them a lot, most frequently probably. So I decided, let's do what could arguably be one of the second most popular rides in the park. Because Rise of Resistance is probably hands down, without a doubt, not up for discussion, the most popular ride in the park. But the second most popular ride, there are a few in the running for that title, and one of them is Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. So I decided to hit up that one next. So I booked it through here. I decided to take the path back through Fantasyland, so basically backtracking what I did just before. We kept going and went up past Small World into Toontown and up to number 44 here, which in Mickey's Toontown, you can see, is up here. Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, which is an amazing ride, also with really innovative trackless technology, similar ride system to Rise of the Resistance. And the first ride in any of the Disney's theme parks to be themed to Mickey and Minnie Mouse, which is a long time coming, far too overdue, but very, very exciting that they finally have their own ride. So that was an incredible ride, and I was in line there at 10 a.m. It was a posted 50-minute wait. That was amazing. 50 minutes is also a low wait time for that ride. It's also consistently over an hour, or well over an hour, from all throughout the day. But it had been down, and it had just come back up. So that's part of the reason I decided to book it over there for that. It came back up, and I booked it over there in about 10 minutes, and by that time it had already jumped up to a 50-minute wait. At least posted wait, because I got in line at 10, and I was at the pre-show at 10:20. So it's actually only a 20-minute wait, which is incredible. So that is a tip I highly recommend. If you see a ride go down, and then you see it come back up, and that's a ride you want to ride, I would book it over there, because it'll have a short wait time the second it comes back up. So I got through that. Really, really cool queue, really amazing. The queue alone is worth going to this ride for in Disneyland. So I was off the ride at 10:30, and would you know it, I had to pee again. And that's because I had chugged a thermos full of caffeine on my way to the park first thing in the morning. So one pee after the first ride was not enough. I had to pee again 2 rides later. But this time I went to my favorite bathrooms in the park on the way back through Fantasyland to the left side of Fantasyland. I peed in the Alice in Wonderland bathrooms, which are amazing. They have different cards from a deck of cards on the front of every door in the stall. And it's a really cool bathroom. It's weird to be excited about bathrooms, but those of us who are truly hardcore Disney adults, we have our favorite bathrooms in the park. Ask any Disney adult. That's my favorite bathroom in the park, as well as the rides and all the things that are normal to love in a theme park. So after I peed at Alice in Wonderland bathrooms and I came out, I got to see the Disneyland band marching by, which was a fun, random happenstance. And then I decided, as I was coming around back into Central Plaza, I noticed that the crowd in front of the castle wasn't that busy, so I decided to take that moment to snap a few castle selfies, which is always fun. Just had to do it. I had to prove to myself that I was here for the day. I try to do it every time I come, just for my own nostalgia. I don't necessarily post it or share it with anyone. I know you're not going to believe me when I say that, but I really do it for me. which is also why I'm making these videos. I'm really making these for me so that there's something for me to use all the footage I take at these theme parks. So I have something to do with all of that footage, because I do film a lot at every theme park because I'm just a habitual content creator and former filmmaker, and it's habit and I can't help it. Even if I don't know what I'm using that content for, I just film a lot of my life. I'm thinking someday I will be grateful that I documented so much, but in the meantime, I realized it'd be really fun to put all that footage together and remember the days that I had in these magical parks. And maybe pass on some of that enjoyment and thrill and tingly feeling that I get in these parks to more people than just myself. So, but I digress. Let's get back to my magical day. So after I took a few selfies here, I decided it was time for breakfast. And my favorite, well, one of my favorite breakfasts in the park is a little stand across over here in Frontierland, across from Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. It's called the Ship to Shore Marketplace. It's a little tiny food stand that sells chimichangas. Now, normally they have the regular chimichanga all throughout the day, available all day, and it is delicious. But they also have a breakfast chimichanga that not everybody knows about, and it's only available until 11 a.m. or as long as supplies last. And I took my chances. It was about 10:30, 10:45 at this point, so cutting it very close, but I decided to give it a shot. So I went over to that food stand, and wouldn't you know, it was sold out. Of course, the breakfast chimichanga, the very helpful cast member there told me that they'd sold out well before 10 a.m. that morning, so there was really no chance of me getting one. But I still got the regular chimichanga because it is still delicious and an excellent breakfast. So, really good choice. And that regular chimichanga cost me $7.53 after tax. So with my chimichanga in hand, I decided it was time to park hop over to Disney California Adventure. So let's follow the path out to the Esplanade, and let's switch over to Disney California Adventures park map. This is what this map looks like. Isn't that magical? And this is the map for this time of year, because this time of year is the Food and Wine Festival. So they've got that thematic coloring going on in the map, as well as in the parks, of course. So once again, this side is the map, this side is the key, and here is the entrance. So that way is Disneyland, and this way is Disney California Adventure. We've sort of shifted around the perspective. So you enter in through here, and I park hopped right at 11 a.m., which is when you're allowed to park hop. You're allowed to start entering your second park starting at 11 a.m. And that's right when I entered. It's perfect timing. So immediately what I wanted to do was ride a ride that was here for a special short time because of the Food and Wine Festival. During this time every year, during this festival, they also switch over the Soarin ride, which is over in Grizzly Peak, which is this brown section here. Number 28, Soarin, which is a cut right and down here. And normally it's Soarin' around the world, but during Food and Wine Festival every year, they do Soarin' over California, which is the OG original Soarin' ride, and they bring it back. Now, it originated in this park, which makes sense because this park is called Disney California Adventure, so logically, Soarin' over California fits right in. So it's a really special treat to be able to ride it in this park. So, of course, I needed to do that first because it's only here for a limited time. So I ran over there and got to sit on that amazing ride that soars all through several different magical, wonderful, beautiful scenes of iconic spots, really beautiful views all around the state of California. And then, as is also the case with Soarin' Around the World, it always ends on coming back to Disneyland Park with fireworks and the magic just exploding over the castle. So it's a really iconic ride, really amazing, really glad I was able to experience that. So I rode that. I was in line at 11:08 and it was a posted 50-minute wait. 50 minutes, it's a very long wait for that ride. Soarin' isn't always necessarily that long, but because this was a special circumstance, then obviously more popular. But Soarin' has a single rider line. Not everybody knows about it because there isn't an obvious sign for it. But you just have to ask a cast member if they happen to be running the single rider line at the time. And if they are, they'll hand you a little card that says single rider on it. And then you take that with you and they guide you in and through the path and down to a special line that you get in just for single riders. And because Soarin' is such a high capacity ride, you usually don't have to wait that long. This time I did have to wait a few rounds of rides before I was able to get on. But it was still only a 24-minute wait, which is not bad compared to a 50-minute wait. It was still half the time. So it was still faster. And I was off the ride at 11:38. So then I decided to go and explore the Food and Wine Festival, which has booths all around the park. And to show you where is our lovely tasting passport for the Food and Wine Festival. It's got all kinds of information, places you can shop, get artist signings, the Sip and Savor Pass, which is a very popular way to experience the festivals. And then they've got all the different booths. So there's Earth Eats booth, and LA Style booth, and Golden Dreams booth. And these are all the treats available at each. Nuts About Cheese booth, and Uncork California booth. Obviously, it's heavily wine oriented, and this one's obviously nuts and cheese oriented. Pretty straightforward from the names, right? Delish booth, Garlic Kissed booth. Garlic. Delicious. Peppers Caliente. Get it? It's a play on Cali, California. Oh, so funny. California Craft Brews booth. Cluck-a-Doodle Moo booth. Just so many puns in one name right there. I love it. That is a booth after my own heart. And then you've got all the participating existing restaurants. Paradise Beer Garden, Paradise Garden Grill. These are all the specials. And onward, all the specials that are being served at existing restaurants and quick service locations all around the park that aren't new booths. These are places that are already open all the time, but they have extra special menu items just for the Food and Wine Festival, which is always really lovely. And the churros is always a particularly special thing that people always look forward to because Disneyland Resort is known for its churros. So when they do specialty churros for events, it's always an extra special treat. And of course, course, can't forget the sponsors of the event. And here's the map. So this is where you can find where all the booths are located. This information is also, of course, always in the app, in the Disneyland app as well, as is this map. So you can always easily navigate your way around with just your phone. So you don't have to carry a big map around with you. You don't have to be looking at this, trying to read these tiny numbers and figure out where exactly you are in this map as you go around. You can use the app and it's a lot more user-friendly and easy to zoom in, etc. But, you can get one of these in the park as well, and they are very handy. So that's the Food and Wine Festival. I had fun walking around all those different booths. But I decided not to actually get anything this time. I don't always get things from festivals because I'm not that big of a foodie. I mean, I enjoy food, don't get me wrong. But Disneyland Resort, both parks, both already have such incredible, amazing food that's available year-round, and I don't have to wait in an epically long food festival line to get it, so I'm not necessarily a festival girly. That's not necessarily the case with Disney adults. There are a lot of Disney adults who are big festival fans, especially the festivals of Disney World, because the Epcot festivals are epic and world-renowned, and people go just to go to those festivals, and it's a huge deal and very exciting, and they do serve amazing food. And I, applaud the stamina to, navigate all of that. I just don't personally have the energy or the patience to deal with the crowds, or the desire to. I don't have quite as much of an intrigue about the food as other people, so I'm just a little bit more. I prioritize rides and characters and shows and that sort of thing over the food a little bit. And I have my tried and true favorites that I always go back to, like the Chimichanga and Breakfast Chimichanga, and I'll tell you about some other ones in my various videos about my various days. So speaking of, today I decided instead of a festival food, because I didn't want to wait in the really long lines, and there were long lines for all the booths that day, I decided to go to a good old classic favorite. So after I wandered all the way around, right, I'd gone to Soarin, so I decided to make my way all around. This is Performance Corridor. It's known as Performance Corridor, and this is where a lot of the booths are. But there are also some down here in Grizzly Peak. There's some down Hollywoodland, kind of all around. There's some down here at Paradise Gardens area. So I decided to meander all around and see all of them, and then I made my way through Pixar Pier on my way back, because I love just walking through Pixar Pier. That land is so incredible, so magical, and I love walking through it. And normally, if I walk through, I'm going to stop over and ride Incredicoaster, because that's another one of my favorite rides in the whole of the two parks here. But it's currently down for refurbishment, sadly, for the whole day. So, unless coming back up a few days later, bad timing on my part, bygones. So, I continued through Pixar Pier, and I decided to come back down and head down Hollywoodland to one of my favorite treats that's a very light, very easy, very refreshing treat that I decided I was in the mood for that time. And that, if we come over to Hollywoodland and we come down to Disney Dining, is Schmoozies. So that's right here. I decided to go to Schmoozies and get myself a Mango Madness smoothie, which after tax came out to $7.32. Once I had that in hand, then I decided to walk with it. This is the great thing about a smoothie. It's just so portable. So I decided to take that with me and wander back this way into Avengers Campus. I love Avengers Campus. Another land that is truly immersive, magical. It's the music. When I hear that music swelling and playing around me, it's just I feel like a superhero. It's really effective. Well done, Disney. So I decided to wander around and just sort of enjoy my smoothie whilst feeling like a superhero in Avengers campus until my smoothie was nearly gone. And whilst I was finishing off the dregs of that drink, I parked myself just outside of the Web Slingers ride, which is right here. Number 9, Web Slingers, a Spider-Man adventure. So I just found a nice seat and sat outside, finishing my smoothie and waiting and seeing if the wait times were going to drop at all. Now they didn't. They were hovering right at 50 minutes, a 50-minute wait. But here's another fun tip. This ride also has a single rider line, and it's much more obvious and well marked. Here's the interesting thing though. Despite the fact that it is a more well marked single rider line, it's a way faster single rider line. I don't know what it is. I mean, this ride also has a very high load capacity, so things move through very quickly. But for some miraculous reason, I always get through the single rider line of this ride very quickly, and today was no exception. I was through the line in 8 minutes, and at the pre-show at 1:14 p.m., and then on the ride at 1:18 p.m. It was such good timing. So after that wonderful ride, then I came back out into Avengers campus, and I managed to catch the Avengers Assemble show, which always happens up here on top of this building. Really lovely show, which is always great. There's the building that has the ship on it that really doesn't seem to have much of a purpose until they recently opened a gift shop inside of it, but for the longest time was just standing there as an empty building, and we're like, what are we going to do with that building? There was supposed to be an attraction there, but nothing ever happened with that, and we've been waiting for ages, and now they've just announced that they are going to build a huge experience with the Avengers where you're battling Thanos. It's a whole thing. But anyway, I'm getting off the point here. I managed to catch the Avengers Assemble show, which takes place on top of and on the balcony of this building. Really great show, stunt show, and I used to be a stunt woman, so I can really appreciate really good stunts. So it was really just such a pleasure to watch that show. And then I decided that today that was going to be all I was going to do in California Adventure. I normally do a little bit more than that in Disney California Adventure, but today I just wanted to hit my greatest hits, kind of favorites. Incredicoaster was down. I didn't really feel like going through that. I love Radiator Springs Racers, and they do also have a single rider line that I often take advantage of, but I just didn't feel like even waiting that long for that today. And there are many other rides that I would have enjoyed here. Also, Guardians of the Galaxy is one of the best rides in the park as well, and a very popular one, which means a really, really long line and does not have a single rider, so did not feel like waiting in that line today. And I decided not to buy Genie Plus today because it was a weekday and the wait times did not seem high enough to warrant it, and I felt like saving my money this day, so I just decided that was good for DCA and I could hop back over to Disneyland and do a few more things over there that I really wanted to do. So, at about 1:50, I exited back out Buena Vista Street and out back onto the Esplanade and over to Disneyland Park again. So let's close up this map and tuck these back over here. Thank you. And pop back into this map for the rest of the day. Alright, so pop back into Disneyland, and as I was going through, I saw the Disneyland Railroad pulling out of the Main Street station, which was really lovely. So first I decided to go to Jolly Holiday Bakery, which is right here, and one of my favoriteest things, it's number 8 right here, favorite places to get food. Also, they have so many treats at this place that's just, delectable. You want to talk about some of the best food in Disneyland Park? It's often at the Jolly Holiday Bakery. But here's the kicker. A lot of the specialty items that I got today that I really love and wanted to try are not available on mobile order. You have to get in line. So as much as I usually always recommend using mobile order, sometimes you just can't. This time I had to wait in line in order to order the strawberry lemon macaron, which was a special limited time treat. Very lemony and super sweet. Slightly artificial taste, but still really, really delicious. But I have to say the raspberry rose macaron that they have here, which is less of a limited time treat, that one is better. I also got the strawberry stuffed croissant though, which was so incredible. Fresh, soft, gooey, amazing. And I really wish that one was not seasonal. In total, with my Magic 10% discount, it was $15.49 for those two items. So then I headed over to Tomorrowland because I really wanted to ride Space Mountain next. So I booked it over there, finished my food on the way. Space Mountain is number 50, right here. And the great thing with Space Mountain is it also has a single rider line that's hard to find. It's to the right and in the back where the bathrooms are. So I went back there, peed in those bathrooms, which are not the greatest bathrooms, but you know, they were convenient, and then hopped in the single rider line that was right there. Now this single rider line normally moves very quickly, but today there was something weird going on and a ton of groups were in the single rider line together. Knowing that they're going to be broken up and have to all ride individually and not with each other, I guess they all still decided it was worth it. So there were a lot of people in front of me in the single rider line this time. But the ride was a posted 75-minute wait time, and I got in line at 3:17, and I still got through in about 40 minutes. So it was still worth it, but longer than I thought it was going to be. So listen to me, I'm so privileged that I'm complaining about a 40-minute wait. But you know, that's us Magic Key holders. We don't have patience anymore, do we? So then after Space Mountain, I decided to hop in another ride that also has a single rider line that's also one of my favorite rides, and that's Matterhorn, number 35, right here, which is right here. That is a classic. It's the first steel roller coaster of its kind in the world. It's amazing. It's such a good ride. Such a nostalgic ride. However, very rickety. So a lot of people like to joke that it's like a visit to the chiropractor. And it has a really good single rider line that's also very efficient usually. So 65-minute posted wait time, and I was through in 18 minutes. I was in line at 4:05 and on the ride at 4:23 p.m. So really good timing this time. And then after that ride, I decided I was legitimately hungry, like full meal hungry. And I don't normally get a big meal. I normally just have my favorite treats and snacks from quick service places all throughout the day. But today I decided it was the day for the Plaza Inn's famous specialty chicken. So I came back over to Central Plaza, right over here. And you'll see it here, G Plaza Inn. And I got the specialty chicken meal, and the chicken was delicious. Crispy outside, moist inside, but it is a lot of chicken, so this is a good meal to share. The mashed potatoes were good. Gravy was a tad bit salty, but still delicious. Green beans were a little on the peppery side, but also good. Biscuit was a little dry, but that's what the gravy's for. Overall, a very delicious meal. Now, it's also a huge fan favorite, so you gotta try it at least once, even if you're not that into big meals either. If you like fried chicken especially, this is a meal to have at least once on some Disneyland trip. I also got a free cup of water, and this is my pro tip. I got a cup of water with the meal, and then I got it refilled for free, of course, before I left. So I left with a cup of water in hand. Always get water with you when you leave a restaurant or sit-down place or anywhere. Get water before you leave your meal so you have extra water to take with you to drink. And that meal in total with my Magic Key discount cost me $18.90. So then I decided, let's knock out a couple of Fantasyland rides I hadn't gotten to yet. So I popped back up to Fantasyland. I looked at all the wait times, and I decided, let's do Snow White. And wouldn't you know, the most amazing timing. As I'm deciding that, who should walk by but the evil queen herself from Snow White. It was such perfect timing. I got in the line at 5:28, 25-minute posted wait time, which was very accurate. I will say this about Fantasyland rides. The posted wait times tend to be very, very accurate. But while I was waiting in the line, the evil queen came by a couple of times, which was amazing. Partly because the little girl in line next to me was dressed as Snow White, so that was just such perfect timing. It was incredible. I hopped off that ride and immediately beelined across from Snow White, which is number 25. Snow White here, straight across to number 31, Peter Pan's Flight. Now, Peter Pan's Flight is one of the most popular rides in the park and definitely the most popular ride in Fantasyland. It will have a long wait time the whole day. I normally either rope drop this first thing in the morning or I wait until the end of the night. You can usually hop on all the Fantasyland rides, very low wait times. And Peter Pan especially is a great time to take advantage of that. But, you know, I was right here, and the line was actually kind of short. It was only a 40-minute posted wait time. So I just decided, you know what? Let's hop in the line. And this was at 5:57 p.m., and part of the reason that the line was getting low was because of the parade. So the Magic Happens parade, which is amazing. And if you haven't seen it, please don't skip it in order to ride rides. I mean, do that if you'd like. But you gotta see it at least once because it is one of my favorite parades. That music is so, it moves me in my soul. But if you've already seen it and you want to take advantage of the crowds being over, watching the parade, low wait times are abound across the park at this time during parades. So the 5:30 parade was going on. Peter Pan's Flight was especially low, so I jumped at the opportunity. And I got off the ride at 6:34 p.m. So it was actually only a 34-minute wait time, not a 40-minute. So, slight difference, but I'll take what I can get with Fantasyland rides. So then after that, I decided to go to Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. Now, I hadn't ridden this yet today, even though I'd gotten my breakfast across the way. The wait time was a little long at that time. I wanted to park hop at that time. So I decided to come back now. I got in line at 6:43 p.m. It was a 40-minute wait, and it had been down and just reopened, so that is part of the reason I ran over there, or again, speed walked over there. It was a posted 40-minute wait, which I was surprised by considering it had just come back up. But here's the best part. They posted it at a 40-minute wait because they wanted to discourage the mad crowds from rushing over there as soon as it came back up, right? In actuality, it was only a 7-minute wait. It was a walk-on, basically. And I was on the ride at 6:50 p.m. It was incredible. Then afterwards, I came out this way, strolled around the rivers of America. Then I kind of came back this way through to the little side area of Fantasyland, over where the Royal Theater is, and the Rapunzel Lantern. And there's a fun little interactive mural over here. You spin this crank and this fun scene lights up, music plays. It's really lovely. Very diverting. But then, since I was over on this side of the park, I decided, you know what? Let's go visit Mr. Winnie the Pooh, because the wait time was extremely low. It often is, but especially lately, with this area being under construction for Splash Mountain closing and Tiana's Bayou Adventure being underway and hopefully opening later this year. That means there's a lot of construction over here, a lot of construction walls, and people don't realize you can go past, or it discourages a lot of crowds from going past to the only ride that is past it this way, and that is Winnie the Pooh. So I decided to meander over that way, 10-minute posted wait time. Got in line at 7:14 p.m. It was actually only a 5-minute wait, so it was also a walk-on. And I was on the ride and off at 7:20. It was very, very good timing. Then I made my way back, and I decided I'm getting older. I can't be on my feet that much. I get tired. These are long days, especially Disneyland is open for a long time. Other theme parks don't quite have the hours that Disneyland does. And I got there at rope drop, so I've been on my feet for a long time. So I decided I needed a break. So I came back over to Main Street and made my way down here to the Opera House, where the Disneyland story presenting great moments with Mr. Lincoln is at number 7. This is a very lovely, very relaxing show. It takes a good long while. You just get to sit there, and there's a very soothing voice that talks about the history of America and the Civil War and President Lincoln's immense role in bringing peace and ending segregation and slavery, and just really, really beautiful story and a very relaxing time. So I did that at 7:40 p.m. and that was just a lovely, relaxing break to take. And then I decided I wanted my favorite treat in the park. I have one thing I get every single time I go to Disneyland, without fail. If I haven't gotten this treat, it doesn't feel like it's been a full, true, proper Disneyland visit. And that is at the Mint Julep Bar. So we make our way into Adventureland and over to New Orleans Square. And the Mint Julep Bar is P, right back here, and it's behind Tiana's Palace, which is O. Tiana's Palace is the newest restaurant that opened in preparation for the launch of Tiana's Bayou Adventure ride. And it has amazing food. But behind it, kind of hidden in the back, is the Mint Julep Bar. And the most famous thing you can get there is the Mickey-shaped beignets. These are incredible. I have bought bags and taken them home. I have gotten them multiple times in one day. I insist everybody tries them. They taste like Disney. I don't know how else to describe it. They're just, it's delicious and just without words. So I mobile ordered some beignets, and my pickup window was 8:05 to 8:20 p.m. So I went over there and grabbed those. $5.92 after tax. And then, with those in hand, I decided to have my snack, my delicious snack, really savor it, on a nice little stroll back over to Fantasyland. Now, I know I'm crisscrossing a lot today. I'm doing a lot of walking unnecessarily, maybe you could argue, perhaps. But I was taking my time and I was having a leisurely day. I mean, leisurely for me. Again, I still like to be super efficient and optimize my day. So even my leisurely day is less than other people's definition of the word. But, getting a lot of snacks in between rides and watching Mr. Lincoln for 13 minutes. And that's my definition of leisurely. So I took my beignets and walked back over to one of my other favorite rides that's not necessarily one of the more popular rides. Same with Mr. Toad's. It's just a personal favorite, very nostalgic ride for me. And that's back in the back of Fantasyland, number 33, which also happens to be my lucky number. Well, 3 is my lucky number, but 33 also, obviously. So in the back here, and I came down the side here, which I highly recommend if you're going to any of the rides on this side of Fantasyland. The castle can get quite busy in terms of foot traffic. So coming down the side here towards Matterhorn is a better strategy, better path to take. And it goes by my favorite bathrooms. But no, I didn't pee this time. I just went to Alice in Wonderland and I rode that wonderful, magical ride with Alice down the rabbit hole, following the White Rabbit, all the way into the Queen of Hearts garden and playing croquet with the hedgehogs and the flamingos. I just love that scene. And the Queen of Hearts is one of my favorite villains. Don't ask me why. I just have a weird love for her. So, love that ride. Love that story. Love that Disney movie. It's one of my favorite Disney stories. It was a posted 30-minute wait, but it was only a 17-minute wait in actuality, which was actually very lucky. But this ride does tend to move faster sometimes. And the best part is, when the line's not that long, if I'm riding by myself, they often give me a car all to myself. And they did this time. I got a teal car all to myself. I was on the ride at 8:39 p.m., 8:40. This is still before the nighttime show, which was incredible. Only 17-minute wait. Speaking of nighttime show, I decided to do that next. And that's part of the reason that I came and rode something over here. Because there are a few places you can catch the nighttime show. The classic, of course, is the castle, standing here in Central Plaza or down Main Street, because there are projections on the castle, and on certain nights, usually only weekends, but sometimes other special occasions, there will be fireworks as well. This was a weekday, so I knew there wasn't going to be fireworks. There are projections down Main Street on the buildings of Main Street too, which is also a beautiful, amazing thing to watch. But what a lot of people don't know is that they also do those exact same projections, that same show, on the facade of It's a Small World. And what's amazing is they've customized the projection show over here to projection map it to the exact shape and lines of the facade. So it is so beautifully mapped onto this facade. It makes it an entirely unique, amazing, incredible show, whichever show happens to be showing at that time. And tonight it was Mickey's Mixed Magic, which is a fun, old, nostalgic show that they brought back for just a temporary time in between things, because they just had the holidays show and they have Wondrous Journeys coming back, but then they're also going to have a new show for the Pixar Fest soon. So in between, in the interim, they're just filling in the gaps with Mickey's Mixed Magic, which is an excellent, fun kind of remix of old classic Disney music and movies and scores. So quite a fun show, and this place, it's such a good spot to watch, because Main Street, well, Central Plaza fills up at least an hour. You have to wait at least an hour to hold your spot in Central Plaza if you want to be front and center of the castle. But down Main Street, even, this starts to fill in 45 minutes, half an hour before it's going to be hard to find a spot. In front of the Small World facade, I did not see a crowd form until 10 or 15 minutes before showtime, and there were still plenty of spots to view. I did not need to be there that early. I was there quite early. I was there at about 9 o'clock to hold my spot, half an hour before the showtime, and I so did not need to be. But, you know, I didn't have anything better to do. I was happy to stand there and just enjoy. I also love the Small World facade. It's really beautiful, all lit up at night, so I was enjoying myself. And then I got to see the Mickey's Mixed Magic show. Oh, that is a tongue twister. Say that 10 times fast. Really lovely show. Glad I got to experience it, although I will say it's not my favorite show. I am really excited for Wondrous Journeys to come back. That is one of my favorites. Really, really enjoy that show. And I'm very intrigued and excited to see the show for the Pixar Fest. And I will be doing another video on the Pixar Fest and my day at the park during that festival. So stay tuned for that. But after Mickey's Mixed Magic, I usually do stay in the park a little bit longer after the nighttime show because, again, a lot of the crowds leave, the families with small children leave, and wait times drop. But today, it's just a particularly tired day. You know, I had to take that Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln break earlier in the day. I was ready to go home. I was going to brave leaving with the mass exodus of the rest of the crowds just because I was ready to get home. Plus, I knew I'd parked in the Toy Story parking lot, which is not where the crowds were all headed. They're all headed to Mickey and Friends and Pixar Pals parking structures. That's where the vast majority of the crowd goes once they exit. so I knew I wasn't really going to be in the crowd for that long. But before I left, I had to get my favorite treat one more time to take with me on the go, and that's my Mickey beignets. So I mobile ordered on my way out. I placed a mobile order at the Julep Bar again, popped across all the way over to Norland Square. I made this trek just for another set of Mickey beignets. That's how amazing they are. Grabbed the bag, didn't even eat them yet, kept them in the bag to keep them nice and warm, and just made my way out of the park with the rest of the crowd and back out and on the shuttle bus to the Toy Story parking area, back out to my car, and took those beignets home. And I did not eat them until I got home, and then let me tell you, eating Mickey beignets in the comfort of your home is one of the best experiences I have ever had. I highly recommend it if you are able to experience that. Just, I mean, if you love Mickey beignets as much as I do, leave me a note in the comments. Tell me in the comments if you've tried them. Tell me if you love them. Tell me if you've taken them home and had them in the comfort of your home too. And tell me if that was a religious experience for you too. Okay, that was the end of my day at Disneyland and Disney California Adventure on this spring day in 2024. I will be releasing more videos very soon with other trips and days that I've been to the Disneyland parks, as well as other theme parks in California and all around the US and the world as well. So stay tuned for more coming soon. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that I made your day a little bit happier, a little bit tinglier, and a little more magical, or at least a little more amusing. And now if you would go and watch another one, that would be amazing, because, you know, that's how the algorithm works. So you can click on this one right here on the screen that future me is recommending to you right now. Thank you again, and I'll see you next time.